How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today my cheap Fast and Furious Lamborghini gets some weight reduction because we're taking out the dashboard. How hard could it be? So if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoy it. This orange thing behind me that I smash my head on all the time because I forget that the doors open up is my 2003 Lamborghini Murcielago, and it was screen used in The Fate of the Furious. Now, if you take a look inside, you can see that it's seen some better days. In the last few episodes, I've been taking this car apart, and we made a new audio system that sounds absolutely ridiculous. But in this episode, we have to finish the job of stripping this car down because everything in this car is made of leather and it has to be reupholstered. Now, here's my biggest issue. On a car like this, there's not exactly a lot of DIY manuals to be had. I don't really know what I'm doing, and a lot of this is trial and error. In fact, my entire car modification career has been largely trial and error. I never went to school for this stuff, and I didn't have any resources that would teach me how to do things right and how to make sure that I wasn't making really bad mistakes. But thanks to today's sponsor, we now have a resource that has tens of thousands of online classes with subjects ranging from design to business to how a car works. I'm talking about Skillshare. So if you guys are anything like me, then you love learning. I put so much emphasis into learning as much as I can every single day. And since I've started using Skillshare, that gave me the push I needed to keep me on track to learning as much as humanly possible. So Skillshare is an online learning community with more than 25,000 classes. The first class I took was Diesel Engine Fundamentals because I always wanted to learn how these things work. And now, I know they're not witchcraft. So Skillshare is giving away a free unlimited access 2-month trial to the first 500 people who click the link in the video description below. And after that, it's only around $10 a month. That's right, you can get free access to tens of thousands of online classes if you click the link in the video description below, but only the first 500 people. So go check it out right now. Like right now. All right, let's begin with a little bit of an announcement. I got the key out, and it only took me having to break the entire ignition cylinder. Okay, I didn't break it, I just took it apart, but it looks pretty broken, and I don't know why this key wasn't turning, but I got it out, and hopefully we can fix all that. Right now, what I'm doing is I have to take apart this entire interior because everything here is made of leather, and all the leather isn't exactly in great condition. Not to mention the stitching on the leather, it's a wrong color. Originally, this car was yellow, and the stitching is yellow to reflect that, but since this car is now orange, I have to change that stitching to orange. And since I'm changing the stitching, I might as well change some other things, like the fact that this is still leather and kind of broken, and the fact that this is plastic, and the fact that the leather isn't as nice as I'd want it to be, especially not for a car of this price bracket. So today is going to be a bit of a work-heavy episode, and the first thing on the docket is taking out the audio system that I just installed. All right, now that we got some more panels off, I can sort of see how to take the dash off. There's some bolts and stuff back there. I'm just gonna take them all off and see if I can get this all loose. Now, this was the most important part because every panel in the center console is gonna get redone and not by the same place it's gonna redo my dash. And it's gonna get redone in a, well, let's just say it's a material that you haven't seen on a Murcielago before. In any case, I found something out that's actually pretty cool. So I have the airbag harness right here, and the car had an airbag light on it. And I was told when I bought the car that the car had the ABS system and the airbag system defeated, meaning that the airbags would not work and the ABS would not work. And I thought that the airbags were taken out or something. The airbags were not taken out. They're not even disconnected. Well, at least these aren't. The front two airbags aren't disconnected. What is disconnected is there's a switch on the side, and that's disconnected. I think that turns off the passenger airbag. or something. I don't know why you'd need to do that with a key, but that's Lamborghini in the mid-2000s. But I think that is the entire problem of why our airbag system does not work. So theoretically, I plug that in, airbag system works, and I plug the ABS in, and that system works. And that means the car is ready to drive. Well, when I get the interior in, and I deal with some mechanical issues, and I also make it rear-wheel drive. Okay, so the car might not be ready to drive right now, but fingers crossed that that day comes pretty soon. All right, let me show you around the car now that it has been significantly lightened. So this is the dashboard and it's almost ready to come out. I say almost because I have no idea where the bolts are over there, but we'll find that out. If you take a look over here, you'll see that I had to move a lot of stuff around. So these are all on bolts, and in order to get the dashboard out, there's two 8mm bolts up there, and then there's some down there, and there's one all the way up there that you can't see. And I found some really interesting stuff on the other side as well. This panel was super hard to take off because there's bolts, and the only way you get them off is on the inside. I cheated a little bit and I just I just bent it. This is supposed to be straight, so I bent it and I got to the bolts, and now it's off. I didn't break anything, and I can bend it back. It's not a big problem. But what I do see down there is, you take a look, it's like a switch panel. I don't know what that switch panel does, but it looks like it says Kony Diagnosis. It says DRL USA version and output diagnosis. So I don't know if this is a dealer level thing, but I definitely found an Easter egg in the car. That's actually pretty cool. But as far as taking this apart, there's a bolt right here. There's 3 bolts, or just 2, I'm not sure. There's a bolt right here. I'm not sure I'm gonna take that out, and just I don't know why that's there. That seems kind of out of place. It's just a self-tapping screw. So just take all these bolts out, and hopefully there's none up there because I can't get my hand in there. And then this thing should be good to go. At least that's the idea. All right, sit rep. I'm pretty sure I'm the first person to ever do this. At least it seems like Lamborghini never designed this to come apart. So let's see if you can see this. There are bolts right up here, and then those follow the entire width of the car. So there's one there, and all the way down. There's about 6 or 7 bolts in total, and they're very, very hard to get to. So the next thing I have to do, I think all the bolts are off. All the bolts are off over here. I think I'm gonna run into a problem with the airbag because there's a bunch of bolts that I can't really get to. There's a bunch of bolts over here. And I don't think I'm gonna take those off, but I might have to. And those are really gonna be a pain in the butt. On second thought, that actually wasn't that hard. So I took off the bracket in front of the bracket, and now I believe I can move this ever so slightly. So I just have to do the same to the other side, all the way in there, and then hopefully this dash can come out. Man, this thing is hard. You see, I knew we could do it. I wasn't worried about not being able to take out the dash and not being able to recover everything and not being able to have a nice looking car. I wasn't worried at all. So here she is in all her naked glory. This is what a Lamborghini Murcielago looks like without a dashboard, and there's a lot of stuff going on here. Now, it doesn't look that bad. There's no frayed wires, there's no signs of water ingress, except for, if you look over there, can you see that? That's where there is an air gap, and that's gonna need to be filled in with some window sealant, because when they installed this window, they definitely didn't do a great job. So that's where air and water comes in. Thankfully, no water came in and nothing shorted out any electronics. But the rest of this seems pretty serviceable. You see that the passenger airbag is still in its place. I didn't touch anything with that. And this wire right here is basically what had my airbag light on. This is what disabled my entire airbag system. And as soon as we connect that, the entire system should work. These are the weird switches that I have no idea what they do. Maybe there's some super secret US to Europe conversion. I don't know. But we also took out the center console. I still haven't taken out the back or the headliner. The headliner is actually glued onto this very thin roof, so all I have to do is just rip this off. I don't want to rip it off right now, but everything else is going to get recovered. I'm thinking about doing this in leather instead of cloth, but I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments if that makes any sense. Now, one thing I wanted to make sure of was the fact that I have everything connected. Well, everything's sort of connected. I can reconnect the gauge cluster, and I can reconnect everything that needs to be plugged in so the engine can work, because I'm getting a new exhaust pretty soon, and I want to make sure I can test that out before everything gets recovered. And let's take a look at this. This is the entire interior, save for some of the headliner, of a Lamborghini Murcielago, and it's not real bad. Honestly, this is really light. I mean, this weighs probably 5 or 6 pounds. It's just fiberglass with some leather on top, and it's pretty light. The entire interior is pretty light, which doesn't make sense because this car is like 4,000 pounds. Anyway, here is the part of the video where I tell you what I'm gonna do with this interior. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna recover it in stock colors. Well, stock-ish colors. I want this to look like the Lamborghini LP640, the later model Murcielago. And the reason for that is because I want this to look like the car in the movie. And in the movie, there were some interior shots not made with this car. It was made with another car that was stripped out to be on a soundstage, but that car had an interior with some diamond quill stitching in orange, and it looked like an LP640, which I believe it was. So I'm gonna do black interior. Not sure if I'm gonna do perforated leather or what. Not sure if that's gonna look good at all, or if it's gonna be too much, but I want this to look very, very stock, very, very clean, and also doing some accents like this piece and that piece and that piece, all in a material that you guys have seen but never seen on a car like that. So I'm not gonna let you know what it is right now, but I think you guys will love it. I certainly do. Now, one thing I wanted to touch on before I end the video is this key. So here is the stock Lamborghini key, and it's basically the same thing as a Diablo, I believe. And this had a hole drilled in it because that's not where a keychain goes. The keychain goes over here, oddly enough, and it's just the weirdest key in the world. But what's even better is the fact that this ignition switch, the switch itself, this guy right here, it actually does work. It goes into the on and start positions, and it does everything it's supposed to do. But this is our culprit. So those of you paying attention will know that I wasn't able to put the car in the off position, wasn't able to take the key out, and I also wasn't able to start the car. So it was just an accessory and on, and it wouldn't go anywhere else. And this tumbler right here, there are little holes, and little rods go in those holes, and when you put the key in, they're all supposed to line up. I think they're all kind of strewn across here. You see these, yeah, these little guys, these little nuggets right there, and those are supposed to allow this to turn inside the ignition cylinder. Now, those need to be redone. I think I can have those taken to a locksmith or something, or maybe I can just finagle this myself, but I think I can get this working. I haven't spent any time on it. I just kind of took this apart and I disconnected it from here. So if I spend some time on it, I'm sure I can get it and get this key working. And then if I get this key working, I won't have to start it from the back. And I can also get this working. This is the stock alarm, which is very, very troublesome. And hopefully it doesn't give me any trouble, but who knows? With the luck that I've been having, I think we're gonna get some trouble. So some of you will notice that there's a USB stick on the key ring, and you guys have been wondering what's on this USB stick, and I just checked, and it's absolutely nothing. Womp womp. Yeah, it's not very climactic here, but maybe we can put some Fast and Furious goodies on here when I finish the car. This will be kind of like a little keepsake. Depending on how big this is, we could probably put a video in here, and that'll be kind of cool. So It's been a long day. We did a lot. This looks like a disaster area, but it is a very big step to this car getting done in a timely manner, because that whole interior, that's gonna take a few weeks to do. I recruited a local shop. You guys will see it in an upcoming episode, and they do really good work. So that's gonna be it for today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We certainly got a lot done. This took a few hours. Actually, it took all day, and I'm all cut and bruised and stuff, but I'm very confident that we can get this thing on the road pretty soon, because I want to hear that V12 and I want to see how it drives. I'd also like to thank today's sponsor, Skillshare. Check them out in the video description. They're a really, really good company. I love using them. And until next time, this is me reminding you guys that on cars like this that now have no interior, but they're going to get an interior that looks even better, you guys need to wrench every day.